Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Muramasa Rebirth. Yeah, this is a bit of a weird one for me to check out, but if you were paying attention and you watched my late anniversary rant a couple of days ago, you know that I would have wanted to start doing videos on older games. Games that I didn't get around to for whatever reason, or games that were just so far back that I wasn't actually doing YouTube at the time. And Muramasa Rebirth is one of them. Now the reason why I picked this one first is not really that out of the way, it's just I was playing this through and I just decided to come up with this idea to play older games, and you know, this is already here, and now I just need something to bridge the gap between, well, the day this video comes out and a couple of days later where I'll have videos of like Croilo Sigma and hopefully some other ones in the works. So we're just going to do this the usual way. I'm just going to go through for a couple of hours, even if I've like completely finished the games I've done before. And I'll just do them in the style of my regular videos. So the nice thing about this game is that you can pick between two different kinds of difficulties, Legend and Chaos, and there is actually a third unlockable one. And the idea is that one is easier, the other's harder. I mean, that is pretty obvious. There are some differing mechanics, and you do have to do things like evade more often, and there's less auto-blocking. Actually, I don't think there's any auto-blocking in the Chaos mode, but yeah. You have two stories to go through, I should say, and they each go for a few hours each, and the game is finishable in about 3 hours, but that is speedrun level, so you're not even going to get close to that on your first turn around. And yeah, I've been playing Kizuke. Is that how you pronounce that? I don't really know, because it's Japanese names. Who knows? But yeah, you got 2 stories to work with here, and there's also downloadable content. There's 4 downloadable content stories that take a few hours each on their own, and then you can go and play all the original bosses with them. So there is a lot of content to be had here. But anyway, we're going to play Kizuke's story. It's going to load up. And here we are just outside of what I believe is a sort of dungeon of the game. So here's the drill. It's a 2-dimensional combat platformer. You move with the D-pad. Actually, you don't move with the D-pad by default. We should go into the options menu. I know people hate me going into the options menu, but trust me, this time I actually have a really good reason. You can swap your playstyle in this menu immediately, which is actually quite nice. Unfortunately, I think you lose like a trophy if you do that, but you know, if you want to go down to Legend, you can always go down to Legend. What I like though is the controls. You can make it so that you can actually somewhat rebind all your buttons. Not all of the buttons are rebindable, and there are some things that you'll probably want to leave alone. Like, for example, I believe evasion is press left or right while crouching. Now, this is actually really hard to do, and there aren't many other options for it. Like, if you do R, that might actually work, but to be fair, it actually works really well if you're using press left or right on the D-pad twice. And defending is a bit of a pain, because there are heavy attacks you can do in this game, which means holding down the defend button, holding down the attack button, and then holding down on the D-pad in order to do the heavy attack. So I just recommend leaving it as that, because it's easier. And you can also change this to use the analog stick, which I've done, because my analog stick is a little bit freaky, and it just doesn't work very well, so I leave it as that, because that works just fine. You've also got these two, if you want them, but yeah, that's my control scheme. Now, you can get, these are your abilities. It just lists all the blades. You've got your current XP, your souls, and your spirit, and all that. It's just stats. Nothing much to worry about. The Forge is interesting because this game has a ton of different blades, right? Now, every one of these blades has not only a different special attack, but a different attack power, and there's also swords and long swords, which differ in their attack speed and range. So you can actually make what sort of blades that you want. If you're a fan of just long swords, you can make just long swords. If you want to make just swords, well, you can make just swords. Unfortunately, I am just too low to make this long sword, but I do have everything I need to make this sword, so I'll just demonstrate the game's absolutely wonderful animation quality. It's just wow. It looks incredible, this game. Especially on the OLED Vita screen. It looks fantastic. Here you can come to swap all your different swords, and I'm going to swap out to the Blade of Falling Petals just because it has more attack on it, and I'll probably pick another sword as well. Actually, no, I won't. But yeah, you can pick 3 different blades, and they've all got different both active attacks and passive effects. So this blade here gives me and extra strength, so that's kind of nice. You also get one extra accessory where, you know, it's pretty obvious what they do. So yeah, fireproof, vitality, yada 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 yada. This is where you come to change what items are mapped to your analog stick or your D-pad. I'll leave it as it is because I'm good enough to play without them, at least for now. You can check the map so you can see where you are. You can look at maps that you've already been to. You've got cooking, where if you buy books with recipes in them, you can cook these dishes that do specific things. So yeah, this one here, it will boost my defense for a bit, but it makes me completely full, so I won't be able to eat anything else for a while. You can also come here just to check your regular items. Not that big of a deal. You've got shops, and they do contain both cooking ingredients, new recipes, extra maps, extra accessories. You get the idea. So you can just buy as much of this as you can carry, and also voice acting is actually really good in this game. If I can just... Excuse me. Yeah, the voice acting and just the writing in this game is phenomenal. We can even talk to this old lady here. See, she doesn't even know who you are. It's weird. But yeah, anyway. So there are towns like this, and there are shops, and there are like little houses that you can go into, and these all surround the overworld. But anyway, here we are in the overworld, and if we hit select a couple of times, we can see what direction I need to go in. I want to go... Actually, no, I'll go straight to that. But there are also caves or dens or somethings of evil out in the world, and they really are evil. Alright, so here we go with the combat. Here's the idea. You can move and you can jump, that's obvious. You can dodge, out of the way of stuff. Square is your main attack. Now, there are also multiple different kinds of moves you can do. So if you hold square and use the D-pad, you can do that sort of silly move right there, which will let you go up in the air. If you hold square to defend, you'll block against incoming attacks. But if you hold down and then release the attack button, you'll do a heavy attack, and that's the only way you can break some enemy's guard. You can also do attacks in the air. That battle's over, so we'll just leave it for now. But yeah, you can get a bunch of different bonuses as well. So if you do it really quickly, you'll get some extra XP. Yada 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 yada. It makes sense once you if you take into account everything you can do in these sorts of games, you'll understand what's going on. And the idea is, you just have to go and find these barriers and slash them, and you'll fight things like bosses and continue on in the story, and it will give you the ability to smash more barriers. So the game just locks itself away, mostly, and you'll just work your way through unlocking new areas as you go. But anyway, here we are in what's basically a dungeon. We're going to get into fights on almost every screen, so, you know, that'll be fun, won't it? But anyway, I say almost every screen, and then I go through 2 screens without a single fight. There we go! So, I'm attacking in the wrong direction. So, the game also has different swords. I have 3 swords up there, and they're currently glowing. When they're glowing, if I press triangle and swap to another sword, I'll do attack damage to everything on the screen. So, this ability is restored by those green specks that you see flying out of dead enemies. There's also the spirit meters down the bottom of those blades there. So, if you do a special move with a blade, it'll reduce that meter, and if you block, it'll also reduce that meter on a successful block. And if your blade runs out, it will break and will become not only a lot less effective, but you won't be able to block with it anymore. So, I hate these fucking things. So, the idea is you have to keep swapping between your blades in order to keep them all tip-top shape. They will also recover slowly, not extremely quickly, but they will also recover slowly when you're not using them, and those, again, these green little specky things give you... These green speck things give you lots of your blade's abilities back. Better get some of my health back, because good lord. I hate these things. I hate them. Thankfully, you can bail out of some combat, but not all of it. And thankfully, in this game, when you die, you're actually immediately kicked back to the start of the room you were in. Except on a boss fight. You'll be put like a room before, and you'll be allowed to go and like, just try again later. But yeah. You use the circle button, and it does the Blade's special ability. So the idea is you just have to combine all of these moves into... God damn it, I hate these things! They just attack so fast in such big numbers. It's infuriating. But yeah, that's basically the entire combat system. Again, you do get more stuff as time goes on. You get more blades, so you get more special attacks, but your main attacks don't change, which some people might find to be a bit of a problem. Like, I don't have that huge of a problem with it. It's just, admittedly, the same base moveset can get boring after a while, and you don't really have anything else in the way of attacks to work with, so you end up having to... Jesus! You try and attack something and it just hits right through your blade. That's infuriating. I'm just going to move on from this area. I'm not going to spend that much time here. But yeah, your base moveset doesn't change, so you do have to kind of rely on the variety of the swords attacks in order to actually, like, get variety out of this, which can be kind of infuriating. Ow! But the combat itself does move very quickly. It is surprisingly fast, and every move feels like it has massive amounts of impact. It's a hell of fun just to beat the shit out of people in this game. Especially when it comes to the bosses, when they just take massive amounts of damage, and we will be fighting the boss at the end of this area. But yeah, these guys can take massive amounts of damage, and just, oh god damn it. I think I'm going to swap to another piece of equipment, because good lord. Let's see, immunity to fire, or... No, I'll take extra vitality instead. Basically defense. Also, the combat can be rather difficult. Like, could you not tell? Yeah, the combat in this game is ridiculous sometimes. Just, you'll have enemies flying around you constantly. There are things called Caves of Evil, and half of them are special boss fights that give you special equipment. And the other half are fights against massive hordes of enemies that... Jesus Christ. Fights against massive hordes of enemies that will end up just completely wiping you out if you aren't moving constantly. It can be infuriating sometimes trying to take them out. They do actually have, like, recommended levels for those fights, but Jesus Christ, it can just get amazingly hard sometimes. Thankfully, the game does have the option of letting you more amazing animations, of letting you play on the legend mode to, you know, if you're having a bit of trouble. But oh yeah, I forgot about these bloody things. Trying to get through them quickly without getting hurt, but that just doesn't... Oh. Buggery. That's just so satisfying. The combat in this game is done so well, and apparently I don't even get the reward for that, which is infuriating. But yeah, my analog stick is fucking up there. That's not good. So, the game's combat is amazing, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It is so satisfying to play once you get it right. And there is an absolute ton of ways to take out enemies. Also, we can cook our own individual usable items here. So yeah, so we just make a bunch of rice balls, because why not, right? Very useful stuff. And the game does continue on like this. Like, in the way of variety, it doesn't have that much going for it. It is going to be roughly the same combat every time, but I guess the main variety comes from being able to swap characters and using the blades that they forge across characters and all that. That's pretty great. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that, isn't it? It is pretty damn fun being able to do all this, though. Where are the roasted yams? There we go. Better have one of those roasted yams. What's in here? Item! New accessory! Hurrah! Ah, yes, the demon soldiers. I hate the long swords in this game. Just, it is a personal thing. Like, I like the swords better because you can actually get attacks in with them. With the long swords, they just have, like, massive charge up times, and I'm not a fan of them. So I just end up using the the short swords a bit more, but yeah, the combat in this game is fast, furious, and quite amazing. Also, you can glide in the air. Ow! I'll have me a rice ball just to save my ass there. Oh yeah, I hate these guys. But screw it, we'll just move on because we're almost at a boss fight. I want to show off one of the boss fights before this video ends. So we do get the opportunity to save, which I will do. It also restores all your blades and health. And then we get to go on to a story segment. And the story segments in this game are interesting, mainly because they make you go and talk to all the characters to find out some stuff, and then about the plot, that is. And then you'll be allowed to move on to the boss fight. It's extremely well done. The graphics in this game are fantastic. The voice acting is really good. The writing is amazing. Axis Games really know what they're doing, don't they? And once you've talked to all of these people, they let you move on to the boss fight. So let's do the boss fight after another cutscene. Okay, here comes the boss fight. So, boss fights in this game work about the same as regular fights, except the bosses have like 5 or 6 health bars. You can see down in the bottom left there that there's an orange bar next to the... Whoops. That there's an orange health bar next to the actual health bar. And once the yellow health bar is emptied... Christ! Once the yellow health bar is emptied, it knocks the boss for a bit of a loop, and then you can, well, just bash on him a bit more until the orange bar is all the way dead. Ow. Ow. Oh, great. Alright, I have to roll through this. Okay, now it's your turn. Thankfully, you are also invulnerable while you're doing your, while you're doing special attacks. Which is quite nice. And the boss designs in this game are just incredible. They look amazing. They're animated so fluidly. They're just often the size of the entire screen, and it just looks incredible. I'm probably not going to survive against this boss because I didn't get all my health stuff prepared, but it doesn't really matter. You're getting a good demonstration of what the boss looks like anyway. So yeah, fast and furious combat, that's extremely satisfying and also potentially very hard. Ow. Oh yeah, I forgot that guy can stomp, because of course he can. And he's going to come back this way, so I'm just going to start making my way over here. Yep, should have known that was going to happen, but I stopped anyway. Ow. But yep, knocked him for a loop for a bit and got a bit of extra damage in. Poor horse. But yeah, Muramasa Rebirth is fantastic. It's Vanillaware's first Vita game, and they're making like 2 more. They've already made 2, and they're making 2 more. So yeah, unfortunately, I've gone and broken all me flipping. I'm dead. Yeah, that was a bit of a demonstration of what a boss fight looks like. This game is amazing. Like, it moves so fluidly. The combat is hard, tough, but usually fair. And the variety in the enemies and the blades is what keeps it going. And it's got a ton of content behind it, even with the other characters that let you do all sorts of other different kinds of combat styles and even have their own stories. So yeah, Muramasa Rebirth is a definite recommend. And I'm really looking forward to Odin Sphere and the new game that Vanillaware are making, which is like that 13 Sentinels game. So yeah, probably not a bad time to go and pick up Muramasa Rebirth. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.